right. We are live. RT Bear here coming to you from Hack Shack Studios. This is where the magic happens. And we got a hell of a show for you tonight. We got a Pontificators. And this may be the longest running CG show of all time. I do believe it is. And so we got Roland Mann. We got an old comic book veteran. He's got a new book. And so we're going to enlighten you with it. It's Silverline Team Up. Silverline is his publishing company, his brand, and it's the Champion and Miss Fury. I almost said Versus. That's Clint Holinsky's. He likes his babes fighting each other, but Roland likes harmony. He likes harmony. He likes team ups. So when we were backstage, he said think of like the Marvel team up stuff like that, and that was one of my favorite books growing up. So very good. Let's get everybody in here. So I told Pedro he better focus because right now he's just trying to work, and he's got to be on. He's got to bring it, man. He always does, but I just want to make sure that he's really bringing it tonight. So how you doing, Pedro?
Yeah, I'm doing great. And yeah, I'm working, but the pressure's on now.
Yeah.
I have to bring it.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what, but I'll bring it.
Just it. It is one of those things like when we were younger, we'd say, "Did you do it last night?" And do it like did you? Sex. Yeah.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was it. Yeah, it was a fill-in word for a lot of different things. So you need to bring it. I'm not saying you need to bring sex, because that would be weird and strange. Yeah, so you don't have to do that. But something as good as that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been taking tango classes, so there's that. Then a little bit more motion in the ocean into the repertoire.
Well, the ladies do like to dance, and you're still single and looking, so that's probably
actually no. I'm going out with this lady, and she wants to learn how to tango, and I'm the guy who has to wear his shoes. To go to her, I'm not really enjoying it. I mean, if I wasn't getting laid, I wouldn't do it. But hey.
I don't think if a guy says they really enjoy dancing, don't you question them a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like making musicals. It's just that there's no. Yeah. You don't get out of that one unscathed.
If there's a woman involved, then there's a reason. Otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next guy I'm going to bring in here. He's hot with the ladies, drawing the ladies, that is. He's got a new book, and it is called Pirate Queen versus the Slave Girl, or just Slave Girl, Mr. Clint Holinsky. And that's live right now, right? You went live.
It is live. We just crushed 12,000 today. So we've been picking up backers into the second week here. Love to see that. Usually your opening week is your big week, but it's been maintaining its momentum. So I've been stoked to see that as people keep pouring in. And I just loved watching Pedro's face talking about having to take tango lessons. Yeah. But the important part, the important part is that you're getting laid. Tango lessons, as much as miserable as any kind of dance class.
As it sounds.
Any guy would avoid a dance class that is straight and still has their man card. The one exception is new relationship, getting laid, then you're bending over backwards for all the horse shit. So Pedro, exactly. Much respect. You get your tango on and do what you got to do.
And then years from now, Pedro, if you're still with her, she'll go, remember when we used to dance? And you used to go to musicals with me? Remember that?
Exactly.
What happened to that, Pedro Eng? Where did
I would say no, I don't remember.
Well, I remember there was a great line, a great comeback for something. Maybe it was in Scrooge. It's like there was a reason back then.
Yeah.
It was
You know what that reason is.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember
I
when
think
we
it is in
danced
Scrooge.
together?
I actually think he says that when they
Yeah.
go back and he's looking at the girl that he let go. And she said, but you did dance, you did laugh and stuff like that. And he goes, there was a reason then.
Yeah. I was on a mission.
I was a
And
mission
that's the
from
thing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to bring this amazing veteran. He's been round the block. He's probably been beat up like all of us have a few times, but he championed it. He's still back, and he's got a really badass campaign, and he's going to tell us all about it. So, Mr. Roland Mann, what's up?
I like long walks on the beach.
There you go.
What's going, y'all? Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, we got a campaign going, and I was saying before we went on, we need some eyeballs.
Yeah.
I think we've got a good looking book here. I got the artwork. I can share it if you want to. It's a hot looking book. Art team is fine. I wrote it, so I can say that. You might not like the story, but dang, it looks good.
So it's gonna be a great story. And if you guys don't know Roland, there's a lot of people that weren't in the limelight, let's just say, but we're a lot of behind the scenes, players, editors, things like that. And Roland's been doing this stuff for a long, long time. So he goes back to the Malibu days.
Right.
And we're gonna talk a little bit about his journey to get to this point. But before we go any further, I do want to let everybody know I'm thankful for you here. This is a very interactive stream, so feel free to chime in the chat. I know there's a lot of competition, especially tonight, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going to go and do this, which is let you know about this Compass campaign. This is Graham Nolan. He's closing out Monster Island tonight. So we're gonna give him a little bit of love right now. So let me click and pull these levers. Make sure I pull the right lever and click this button. Where are you? There you are, right there, Mr. Graham Nolan, people. So this is Graham Nolan's Return to Monster Island. This is Compass Comics Presents, and so this is Mac and Duke Return to Monster Island, and Monster Island returns to Compass Comics. So he is at 120, 590. He's 1,500 backers, 1,501. So let's get at least one or two backers during this live stream. He's going to be doing a closeout on his own channel, which is going to be a lot more competition for us. But we're up for it. And you guys, I know there's a lot of people that watch Pontificators in the morning the next day. But anybody who's listening right now, this campaign will be gone tomorrow morning. So if you're going to back it, you got to back it tonight because it is going to be closing out. So this thing looks great. Graham always delivers. So I'll put the link in the chat so you guys can click on it and check it out. So I think there's Monster Island 1 and 2 available in this campaign. And so you can get those what do they call them, slabbed comics and stuff like that. I'm not that much of a comic book collector to get slab stuff, but Graham is, and if you are, then there's some tiers for that as well. So let me play this video. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that part.
Oh, the classic Marvel.
All right, you guys, back
Very
this
good.
tonight. Like I said, I will be putting a link in the description. This is Graham Nolan, and this book will be closing tonight. So get on it, people. Do it now. Do it now. Okay, let me continue. Here we go. It should be in the description. Yeah, it's in the link is there. So you guys click on that, back Monster Island, and make Graham a happy man. Make him a happy man. So Flatty1 says, can't wait for this. Everything Compass Comics has been killer so far. Indeedy do. Let's see what Wordsmith has to say. Monster Island is heavy on old school comics 5 nostalgia at its best. Indeedy do. Indeedy do. Yeah. Well, before we show Roland's campaign, let's find out a little bit about Roland, man.
Yeah.
Shall we? Let's do a deep dive. All right.
Fire away. No,
Yeah,
no
don't-
question scares me.
Yeah, don't go. Let's not go
that's
back to like how it all began. But how did your career in comics go? Because I know you from the Malibu days, and
Right.
that was like early '90s. But were you doing working professionally before then, or what happened to get you?
I was a freelancer before Malibu hired me. Yeah. So the way I got started is I was in college and I had been sending, this would have been for those who are looking at their calendars, this would have been mid-late 80s. And I was submitting to Marvel in DC. That's what I thought I had to do. I didn't know I'm from Mississippi. I grew up there, right? I didn't know anyone in comics. There were nobody in comic books ever came to conventions in Mississippi. They're just, I only had the comic books that I had, were available in the comic shop, and what little I knew about the process. The Marvel Comics tryout book was, was part of the scene at the time. I had that, of course. I had submitted, I had made my submission to the tryout, and I'd gotten rejections back and forth.
What part of the tryout did you work on?
The writer's part. Yeah.
The writer's part. Okay.
Yeah, they had a Spider-Man. They had Spider-Man pages in there, and you were supposed to script those and send those back. So
you mean script them or dialogue them?
Dialogue them, yeah.
Okay.
Marvel method. You do the page by page plot, then the artwork's done, and then you write the script.
Right.
The script is just dialogue, captions, and sound effects, and all that kind of stuff. So I did that and sent it in. But I'd also, this is a time when, in the 80s there were a lot of independent comics coming up. You had First Comics, you had Comico, you had Now Comics, you had a lot of those companies that had been around a few years, but it was kind of thing. I was like, okay, well, let me start trying them. As a junior in college, my wife was running for student council where we went to college. She wasn't my wife yet, right? But she was running for student council. And so back then, females had to be escorted into the male dorms in order to get in there and do their little, speeches. So
guys are pigs, right?
What's that?
Because guys are pigs.
Because guys are pigs. That's right. And so, so she was with a group of girls, right? All of them kind of had an escort to get them into the buildings. She was junior, and there was a senior and a sophomore and a freshman, right? So we were going around to all the halls, all the dorms, and one of the dorms, I'm sitting there leaning up against the wall, and they're going through their spiel, and I've heard it before. I wasn't really listening. I look on this wall, and I'm like, there's this big painting, right? There's probably this 5-foot tall painting of a character I'd never seen before. Now, I'm sitting there thinking, I know all the comic book characters, right? And I'm like, who the heck is that? And so, so there was a guy standing right next to it. And I said, hey, do you know who did that? And he goes, I did that. I'm like, really? I'm like, who is this? I've never seen this character. He goes, that's my character. That's the character that I created. And I'm saying, wow, that's fantastic. I said, are you an artist? He goes, yeah, I want to make comic books. That's what I want for my career. That guy ended up being Stephen Butler, who you guys probably know, right? Went on to draw Badger, Sonic the Hedgehog, Spider-Man, all kinds of stuff. Steven and I became friends. And keep in mind, this was shortly after the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out. Now, realize I'm going to get a lot of hate for what I'm about to say. But he and I looked at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and we said, if they can do it, we can do it. Right? We saw what they were doing and we're like, people are buying this. Surely they'll buy what we have to, what we have. So we actually, in 88, we tried to self-publish. Now, keep in mind, this is Mississippi in the 1980s, and we didn't have the money to do this, right? So we solicited. We got orders for our comic. We got about 5,000 orders, just under 5,000 orders for our black and white comic.
Was that through like Capital? Because Capital was real good with like indie people in the day.
Capital loved us. Well, it was through all of them. There was about 12 different distributors at the time. You had Capital, Friendly Franks. You had, of course, Diamond. There was Comics Hawaii. There was, I can't think of them all now. There was about a dozen of them. I've still got all those orders, by the way.
That you haven't fulfilled?
I think they canceled them a long time ago.
We canceled them.
Yeah. But
we owe Capital a few books.
Yeah. I loved Capital. Listen, Capital always they were probably our biggest supporters.
Yeah, I liked them too. I was really sad when they went belly up.
Yeah. Well, just imagine a world with 12 comic book distributors too. Is like that's a whole different
I can absolutely
landscape than what we
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah, Diamond.
Yeah. That's hippie talk, man.
Yeah.
That's hippie talk.
So we took our orders, right? So we got all of our orders together and we went to the bank because we didn't have money, right? Now, you keep in mind, we're talking, 5,000 copies, which would have cost us, I can't remember back then, but you're looking at a less than $1 a copy. So you're talking not quite 5,000. We didn't have that kind of money. We were college kids, and we're like, where are we going to get this money?
You went to the bank to get a loan? So
yes.
You could publish your comics?
Yes.
Holy shit, dude. You were serious.
Listen, no one would give us a loan. They would look at us and listen, I love Mississippi.
Well, I just got to back up for 1 minute, Roland. I never believed in myself that much that I would march down to a bank and go in debt.
No, we already had the orders.
I would have went, oh, you know what? I'm just going to flip burgers. I'm not going to do this comic book thing.
But we already had the orders. That was the thing. It was a shoe-in. It was made money already, right?
Right.
We had the orders.
Right.
All we had to do was ship the product. And they were gonna. It would more than pay for the printing, so we had it right. It was there. We just didn't have the cash to fund the printing. And I kid you not, one of the bank guys said, "Comic book, huh? I ain't never given no loan for no comic book before. Can you use a tractor with that?" No, sir, we cannot use a tractor with that. Here are our orders. Of course, we had no collateral, right? We're like, here are our orders. This is our collateral.
What was the collateral?
That was it. That was our orders. We're like, these people are going to pay this money to us after they get the product, right? And
they're like, not really collateral. They need to be.
It's not. Look, I was a college kid, right? What do you want?
I'm just trying to get the details, man. Hey, Roland, I just want to figure out how you did it so I can replicate it.
Art's worse than the bank loan guy.
We had no collateral. We had nothing that we could put up. Like I said, we were still in school. We were seniors at that point in time, and we were both getting ready to finish. Steven graduated, I think, a semester before I did. And so ultimately we had to cancel the orders. But what we did is we photocopied all those orders and we photocopied the comics, of course. And we kept working, right? We knew this is what we wanted to do. And we had like 4 issues completely done by this point in time.
Wow.
So we sent them around to all the independent guys, right? We sent them to First and Kamiko and Now and Malibu, right? We sent them to all the people. Malibu was the first one to respond to us. And so they was like, hey, we love this comic. Do you really have 4 issues done? And we're like, yeah, they're done. They're like, okay, well, let's sign the dotted line. So,
wow.
So yeah, from '88 until basically 1990, that's kind of what we were doing, and then Malibu signed us, and we ran for about 2 years. Cat and Mouse was the name of the comic, and it was in the top 10 black and white comics from Comic Shop News for about half of the run. And then that work for me led to other work, led to my Miss Fury miniseries. That was the next thing that I did. For Steven, it led to Badger. Mitch did some other things before he ended up at Green Lantern over at DC. So
Mitch,
yeah.
who? What was Mitch?
Mitch Bird. I'm sorry, Mitch Bird.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So how did the editorial thing happen?
Well, so this Cat and Mouse placed in 90, right? And so I began to do a lot of stuff with Malibu and with some of the others, and I was still submitting to DC and Marvel at the time. Not as much as I had been, but because I was getting to work now. But I went to Atlanta Dragon Con in 92 and met Chris Ulm there, who was the editor-in-chief at Malibu. And he said, he told me there, he said, we're getting ready to build an in-house studio, kind of like the old Marvel bullpens. And I said, really? I said, I'm a Marvel zombie here. I would love that kind of thing. He goes, you would be willing to move out to California? And I said, well, I don't really want to, but if you're telling me that there's a job out there that I might be able to do and, might be good at, well, then I would at least let me tell you no. 2 weeks later, he called me back with an offer, and I'm like, okay, I can't refuse this offer. I got to go. So I packed up the card, and as they say, the rest is history. I moved out to California and took a job as an editor there.
Where were the offices? They were LA area, right?
Yeah, I never saw the Newbury Park offices. When I got there, they were in Westlake Village. Okay. And then from Westlake Village, we moved down to Calabasas. That was that was when Marvel bought it and when they closed house. There were nice offices in Calabasas too.
Yeah, it might have. I want to say it was probably cheaper because that's more north, right? You're like out of the LA area.
Yes, it's just over the hill from the valley. Okay. You had the Simi Valley, right, and then it's just over the hill. The next place is Calabasas, and then the next place north is Westlake Village.
When we were a kid, we used to say, touch me, feel me, Simi Valley.
I didn't know that.
but yeah, so that's about where I came in. And then Hank was finishing up his time. Hank Canals was finishing up his time at Image, right at Extreme Studios. So did he come in about that same time you were?
Hank came in a little bit later than me. When I became editor, one of the books that I edited, we brought Hank on, and Hank was the writer for the X-Mutants. And so
the X-Mutants,
yeah, he wrote that until we made a big change with X-Mutants, and then he came on staff. So
I did a cover for X-Mutants.
Nice.
You probably talked to me in doing it.
way back. It was actually Jim Valentino did the
black and white version.
Yes.
Okay. No, you didn't talk to me to that one. I wasn't there.
Okay.
So this was X-Mutants was done by I think Adventure was the label. Malibu owned it, but it was Adventure, and then they later relaunched X-Mutants in color. And it was drawn by Paul Pelletier.
I don't remember it having a Malibu icon or whatever in the corner.
I think it was Adventure.
It probably was, because it looked pretty indie. Like it didn't look like there was a lot of money. Yeah.
What was the other? There was another early magazine besides Wizard that Hank Canals was involved with. I can't remember the name of it, but like Hank Canals picked.
It was that manga one, right?
No, it was straightforward superhero comics because.
There was one called Hero.
Hero. That's what it was. Hero.
Okay.
Hank Canals was doing portfolio reviews, and Hank Canals picked my submission and did like a portfolio review of my submission in Hero magazine.
Wow, cool.
But that was like the first that was like one of the very first things where like somebody noticed my stuff. And like when you guys were throwing Hank's name around, I'm like, there weren't too many Hanks in comics. I bet you that was Hank Cannell. So.
Yeah.
Hank's done so much stuff, like
Oh,
just kind of bopping in and out of things. I mean, he was Rob Liefeld's childhood friend. They created Youngblood together. Image Extreme Studios. I think Hank designed the Image Eye, if I'm not mistaken.
That Hank gets edited out of that original Image Founders photo a lot.
Yeah,
he gets edited out of that a lot.
Yeah, he was there for sure.
Yep.
And so then there was Malibu, and then he went to work for Warner Brothers in the licensing.
He did,
division, and that was great to have a friend there, because like all those Batman movies that were being made in the time, like with the Burton stuff and all that. Like I got to walk those sets and all that stuff, hang out with Hank. And I remember this was like Batman Forever or something like that. And Hank brought me in for a meeting. He goes, Art, would you be up to do the licensing images for like Batman Forever or whatever? I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, do license. He goes, license. I go, I know it pays a lot of money. I go, I don't think I'm qualified, man.
And then, Art always say yes.
No, because they got Jose Luis Garcia Lopez to do it.
Yeah.
And holy crap, man, there's no way I could have even at that level. So I that was a bullet dodge at that time. But yeah, you're right. Like, you never but holy crap, I wouldn't have known what to do. I would have been scared.
Crisis averted.
Yeah. Because also being in that Warner Brothers building, that wasn't messing around. That's not like little comics, shacks and that kind of
I remember going down there and having lunch with him, and he said, "Come on, I'll take you on a tour." And one of those sets that I got to see was the Lois and Clark set. Oh, that's really cool.
And what was Jerome? Jerome Moore.
Yeah. Now Jerome was never on staff, but Jerome and Hank were buddies, and they kept cooking up some project. I can't remember what it was, but.
Hey, Roland, did you go to Hank's wedding?
I did. I was one of the groomsmen.
I was there too.
Yeah.
I took a few photographs that I'm sure Hank wishes he never invited me to.
Yeah.
I was drunk and they had box cameras on all the tables, so I just kept like taking pictures inside my pants.
In fact,
it had a flash on it so you could see in the dark. Yeah, so
I still got the gift that he gave all of his groomsmen on my desk. He gave this to his groom. It has my initials on it. You can't really see
the Cosmic Cube.
I know. It's a pencil holder.
Oh,
right.
Sweet.
Yeah. So it sits on my desk, and I don't put pencils in it anymore. But
hey, Roland, how many times has your wife hit you with that thing?
I hide it from her now. It's It's very throwable.
That's what I was thinking. That's like a woman's weapon right there. Mad at you. It's on the desk. It's convenient.
Right. So I hide it. You can't see, but I have a couple monitors here, and so I kind of tuck it in behind the monitors so that she.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good man. Okay, so so you had. Who was the guy? I always blank on his name that ran Malibu, or one of the lead guys. He was the platinum guy.
Scott Rosenberg.
Scott Rosenberg.
I worked for Scott Rosenberg at Platinum.
Yeah. Did you really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
didn't know that.
I mean, I don't know him well, but I knew Scott Rosenberg well enough.
Yeah.
And I knew the reputation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I did Greatest American Hero through Platinum, and then through Arcana. Rosenberg was attached. I don't know. It's all blurry from years ago, but yeah.
But Roland, you got paid. You got paid for all your work and everything. Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing. Scott Rosenberg was only a name to me, right? When I moved out there, he was a name that came on the books, and I knew that he was there. I always worked with Chris Olm and Tom Mason. Those were the two guys I always worked with.
Home, yeah.
I knew Dave Ulbrich, right, because he was the contract guy. When Chris and Tom had hired me to do a project, they're like, Dave will be in touch and he'll send you the contract. So Dave would send me the contract. So those were the three guys that I knew. I didn't know Scott. I didn't even meet him. I didn't know anything about all the controversy behind him and how he may have or may not have, I don't know, got the money to start Malibu until I moved out there. And that's when, I started hearing the little kind of secrets along the way. And Chris and Tom and Dave, they never really talked about that kind of thing. And of course they shouldn't, right, to the employees. But
Right.
as I the more time I spent out there, the more I learned, or the more rumors I heard about Scott and where the money from came from to start Malibu. Yeah.
Well, if you guys don't know and you're listening, Scott Rosenberg is the Men in Black guy. Like he brought that to film, the comic to film. Also Cowboys versus Aliens.
Yeah.
That was his. I think he created that supposedly.
Yeah.
There's
Well, the funny thing
controversy
is,
with everything that guy touches, man.
the funny thing is, he's not the guy who brought the comic book into Men in Black. That was Tom Mason. That was a submission that Tom Mason saw. And so Tom Mason said, this submission is just kooky enough. Let's do it. Right. And so
based on the comic book, man, that comic book was like, it was deep indie. Like that did not look professional at all.
No.
No, it did not.
Neither did Aliens versus Cowboys. Like those were like.
Yeah.
Oh, and now that we're on it, hey, nothing against the Crow, but James O'Barr, he's a friend, but especially let me just rephrase it. Okay, the early stuff, like the first couple like chapters or issues of the Crow.
Very rough.
Were really, really rough. There was some Bern Hogarth swipes, and like you could see like there was anatomy swipes and stuff in that story. It was so funny, man. But we all have to start somewhere.
Yep. And I think the Crow was just different enough that it resonated with folks. I think those kind of like the Turtles, right? I still look at the Turtles and go those initial issues. Right, and I still look at those initial issues and say, "Well, we're seeing anything. These are not good."
It was concepts. They were selling concepts. They weren't selling like fully professional comics. The Crow as a concept, the Turtles as a concept.
Right.
It was stuff that struck a chord that wasn't maybe the most polished comic book writing or art wise, but the concept struck a chord with readers, and then whoever licensed or got those into movies realized that. So,
well, with the Crow, it was John Shirley. I had a mutual friend, and John Shirley is the guy that polished that Crow script, like for film, and he's the one that pitched it because I don't think it had an ending. I don't even know if the series was done by the time when John came in, and I think they kind of hashed it out in the form of a script. So I think the Crow comic actually benefited a little bit from John Shirley's input, the later issues and stuff like that. Because John, that dude's a consummate professional, novels, everything, screenplays. That guy's done it all. And then even like the Ninja Turtles, wasn't there there was a guy that saw the potential, like you said, Clint, the high concept, like he saw the potential. And then it wasn't like those guys were out selling it. That guy saw the potential, and then he went out and basically cut the deals and stuff like that.
Yeah, but even like the Crow movie was very conceptual. It wasn't like a straight out like superhero film. There was a lot of thought process. As a moviegoer, you go like, wait, what's happening here? So like being rough, people start somewhere, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But you know what? To James O'Barr and John Shirley, there are scenes from that comic book that are in that movie. Yeah. That whole thing with the wedding rings and the shotgun and all that stuff. a lot of those scenes are actually in the comic. So, there was great inspiration.
For as much as we complain about Hollywood ruins a lot of comic book concepts, there are a few movies out there where Hollywood took the concept and then even lifted it up,
made it better,
elevated it, and added to it in a good, beneficial way.
Well, Men in Black.
Yes.
I tried to get through that first Men in Black issue. It's tough, man. It's
rough.
And there's no humor. There's no humor in it.
And listen, I know Lowell Cunningham, right? The guy who wrote it. Good guy, great guy. I love Lowell. But man, that first issue is really, really, really hard to read.
Yeah, but I mean, Roland said it like a couple of minutes back. Seeing a rough comic book make it inspires people to like, hey, if he did it,
yes,
maybe I'm gonna do it too. So maybe there's a space for that. Like people
absolutely.
So Roland, you know the Men in Black creator guy.
Lowell,
How bad did he get screwed over?
Actually, he got a sweet deal.
Did he? Good.
He did.
I love to hear it, but I just always assume the creator got the raw end of the deal. So it's good to hear.
So here's my Lowell story, and this is all I know. I saw him the summer at San Diego Comic-Con, the summer that the movie came out. He was handing out Men in Black pins. I got one on my hat over there somewhere. And I said, hey, man, how many times do I need to go see the movie so that you can earn some good royalty? He goes, I don't care if you see the movie at all. I'm like, what? He goes, no, but buy 2 copies of the DVD. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, I get nothing from the theatrical release of the movie. He goes, but I got a sweet deal on everything else. So all the toys, everything.
And that was still, yep, go ahead. Sorry.
I talked to him about 10 years ago. The last time we actually had we email every now and then, but I haven't. Last time we actually had a conversation like this was about 10 years ago. And he told me, probably off the record, I don't know, but he hasn't had to work a day in his life since then.
Nice.
He does, and he's still trying to, write and sell things like this, but he goes, yeah, I don't have to.
I'm so glad. I am so glad because especially with Scott Rosenberg, you really question some of those things because my Scott Rosenberg, I don't. He's kind of a charming guy, so I never really. I can never be too mad at him because because also he's transparent. Like I can see right through him. You know what I mean? Like I know he's scamming me. He's good, but he's not that good. You know what I mean? So he started Platinum, and so he sends over like Platinum is going to be a catalog of all these books and stuff like that. And I got all this representation and success in Hollywood. So we are inventory these. And then, I can pitch them and stuff like that. So I said, oh, okay, so what do you got? So he sends me this list of stuff. I mean, there was a bunch of Top Cow and Rob Liefeld stuff and all this. But that was designed that was supposed to sell me on it, right? I was supposed to go, oh, this is legit because Silvestri and Rob Liefeld are involved in all this stuff. And I went the opposite. I was like, no, you have all these IP. I'm going to get buried. Yeah. I want somebody that really, like a John Shirley, I want somebody that believes in this project that can go and sell it. I don't want to be in this huge catalog of names and stuff like that. And then, of course, you go, well, how much do I get paid? Do I get any kind of retainer or anything? He goes, no. And so I go, how would I know if you're going to actually pitch it or not? He goes, you don't. So they had a great logo. The Platinum Studios logo was pretty damn killer, and I always liked Scott, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
So the funny thing is, right? You asked me a few minutes ago if I had been paid. The only people in the comic book, the only company in the comic book industry that never paid me was Kamiko. And I did a Vortex miniseries. Vortex is one of the characters from the Elementals, which I absolutely love. Right? I
love the Elementals. What was that? Man. Bill Willingham? Is that?
Yeah. Yep. I absolutely love that stuff. And so I did a Vortex miniseries, right? And so they never paid me for some of the work that I did on that. So they're the only people who owe me money. But that person is Andrew Rev. Now,
Oh.
If you if you followed any of the news in the last few years about some of Rob's characters, and I didn't follow everything, but he's lost some of the
that's
rights.
that guy. Okay,
That guy.
Youngblood.
That guy. How did Scott Rosenberg and Andrew Rev get in bed together?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But now they are kind of owners of some of Rob's stuff, which I'm like, it's like, Rob, you should have asked a bunch of people about those guys, dude.
Yeah.
Rob's still, even though Rob still sold it, his biggest creation, Rob's still doing fine. That Evangeline, that Evangeline deal with Margot Robbie, like Rob's gold still, and those guys are sitting on Youngblood and they don't have any idea what to do with it.
Nope.
So.
No, they don't.
And I think Rob stashed enough of that image money away in the day.
Rob's not worried.
He's doing pretty good. But man, since we're on the Scott Rosenberg, that guy is quite a character. I remember, so there was Platinum, and I think even Clint knows, there's a guy that worked at Platinum, and then he started his own publishing company. Was it Antarctic or
Arcana?
Arcana.
Yeah.
That guy, he was from Canada, right?
Yep. Sean O'Reilly.
Sean O'Reilly, right?
Yeah.
So Sean O'Reilly, he's like, I love Chrono Mechanics. That's one of my IPs, right? He goes, because I want to publish, and I go, oh, cool. And so he sends me over a contract. I'd already seen these Platinum Studios contracts, right?
Yeah,
so this thing is just a bastardized version of these Platinum Studio contracts and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said, this is just a publishing venture. I'm not going to give you anything in perpetuity. Right. You'll have publishing rights for this one book or whatever it is that we agree on, but nothing long term. He's going, okay. So then I get the contract back, and then there's some new legalese that says basically the same thing as in perpetuity. and then I go, no, I can't. My wife writes policies and procedures for Northrop. She knows this stuff, right? And so then we went back and forth about 3, maybe 4 times. So eventually he just went because I was like, come on, just straightforward, just make it straightforward. And then I think the last one was we will own the character outright for the next 50 years. And I was like, no. I go, we can't do this because you're not listening to anything I'm saying. You're not bringing that into the contract, so we didn't do it. But then I find out, he did work at Platinum, or he worked with Scott Rosenberg in the past.
Well, dude just went through the thesaurus and changed the words.
Yeah, exactly. And then shortly after, they must have been in cahoots. Scott Rosenberg contacts me, and he's like, I'm interested in this Chrono Mechanics, this time repairman. And I'm like, oh, cool. And so we scheduled a lunch date at San Diego Comic-Con, right? So Scott's idea of a lunch date was those little vending carts.
I had one of those. I had one of those in 2018 when I was out there. I had one of those with Scott. He bought me a hot dog. But did he bring his own lunch?
No.
He brought his own lunch when he and I ate. He bought me a hot dog, and I'm sitting there, and I said, "Aren't you going to get any?" He goes, "I know, I brought my lunch."
Yeah, he didn't bring the lunch. He got a dog too, but I was like, wow, I was this is Men in Black guy. This is Cowboys versus Aliens. I'm thinking, this could be some kind of wine and dine, and then I'm like,
did he pull it gold foil and throw it over the hot dog or something? Because that doesn't inspire confidence. Is this the money guy? A hot dog? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. It's big time,
Yeah, it's big time.
But that was my last contact with Scott, because it went the same way as that Sean O'Reilly, and then I remember he just finally got uppity with me and got frustrated. He goes, listen, man, I have a catalog of all kinds of time travel stories and things like that. I don't need yours. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Why are we talking then?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
You know what's fun about this, Roland, is that you realize how small this damn comic book industry
Oh my
is.
God.
Like,
Totally.
Clint
is
has
so small.
crossovers with us.
Like
Yeah.
all those guys you're mentioning, it's like I've dealt with them too, and it's like,
Well,
yeah.
It's so funny because
And-
Go ahead, Clint.
No, I was just like, they're not all bad guys, but they're all like trying to like get their angle and stuff, and it's kind of
this is all very like John Lovett for some reason. Like, get into comics, kids. One day somebody's gonna buy you a hot dog. There's nothing but success here. Wow.
You too can have a hot dog bought for you at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Complete with relish and
by
onions.
the same token, you never know when one of these deals is just gonna.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
It's the golden
gonna
ticket,
blow,
you know.
right?
It's like you're not talking to these guys, you're not trying, and
Yeah.
you've got to go in with your eyes wide open. But you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't at least talk to them.
Well, that's it.
That's exactly the way I feel. Like, you always gotta at least have that conversation.
And ask somebody if you get offered a deal, right?
Yeah.
If you get offered a deal, go to somebody and say, "Hey, I've been offered a deal. Would you kind of take a look at my deal?" If you like, look, obviously you should go to a lawyer, but a lot of people in the indie comic scene can't afford a lawyer at $750 an hour, right?
You're right.
And so at least take it and say, "Look, this is what I've been offered." Go to somebody you trust, right? Someone with some experience, and say, "This is what I've been offered. What do you think?" Or read the language here. Am I being screwed? Is this okay? You know, get some second thoughts. Second pair of eyeballs. I tell you who was that for me when I first started. Okay, you guys know Dave Dorman, right? So Dave Dorman in the '80s was married to Lorene Haynes, who was the assistant for some time of Mike Grell. She did. You guys probably remember the Longbow Hunters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Lorene Haynes was the colorist for the Longbow Hunters. So Dave and Lorene were a couple. This goes back a long time ago, right? They were a couple when I first got in. I met them at a show down in Florida. Lorene just latched onto me like a little brother, and she said, "Show me what you've got. I will help you do everything." And so Dave and Lorene were incredible mentors to me when I got started. So, I mean, not just me and Steven and Mitch all, right? Well, because we were all right there in that same area. So yeah, reach out to somebody if you get that kind of offer and say, "Hey, I just need some eyeballs. Help me."
Yeah, the comics industry used to be a lot more of like, it used to be like that.
Yes.
You know, where people were always helping each other out, and pretty much if you didn't know this person, you knew the person that knew that person or whatever it was. So even though like I was always a California guy, and you know, all the publishing is in New York, I still felt a kinship with a lot of those Marvel and DC guys,
right?
Because I go maybe 3 or 4 times a year. You know, those times were memorable because I always knew like I have a short window, you know, to kind of, you know, I don't know, build memories or let them know that I'm an okay guy, that type of thing. And so it really did seem to work. And I think it is because of that there wasn't really a lot of money in it. And I think we all just understood, like, let's just have a good time. You know, and that's a difference between the industry now and then. It's like, I think everybody was just like, I'm not getting paid that much money, but we're drawing comics. It's not a bad way to make a living.
I mean, come on.
It's fun.
It's better than digging a ditch, right? And I've done that.
Yeah.
You know,
I've dug a few ditches in my time.
Yeah. I mean, you
know,
probably knew
shallow ditches that could fit, you know, a body or two.
Yeah.
I'm
you
not
probably knew all the
anymore.
Gaijin guys, right?
What's that?
You probably knew all the Gaijin guys, right? Gaijin Studios.
Yeah, I would call
Cully
there.
And Joe and Carl and
there'd
all
always
those
be
guys.
somebody
And they were in
else
Atlanta.
that, would pick up the phone but let's before we go there, because this is good memory lane stuff. We got to let people know that Roland has got a new campaign, and this is the team up. This is the Champion and Miss Fury. So take it, Roland.
Yeah, so we are this is the regular version of the A cover, which is foil, right? So I can't, if you guys have ever tried to take photos of foils, they just don't work. We do have a little quick video of the foil on the actual crowdfunder site that you could see. But this is that. Yeah. So we've got this. This is our A cover, and of course we've got a B cover. Everybody wants a B cover.
Beautiful covers.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Very
nice.
dynamic, dude. This is
So
awesome.
yeah, let me go back. So this is penciled by Peter Clinton, who is a recent graduate of the Kubert School.
Oh, nice.
Listen, Pete is going to go places. Pete just needs a few miles under his belt, and he knows that I say this about him. He just needs a few miles, and guy's going to go places. He's hot. Inker is Thomas Flormonti, who's been inking for 30-something years, a long time. The colorist is Roberta Conroy, who used to be a Malibu colorist from back in the day.
Okay.
Nice.
And of course, this cover B then is Dean Zachary, who did some work for me back at both Ultraverse and the pre-Ultraverse stuff. Tommy inked it, and Roberta colored it. And then we have this is what we call the Tommy style. Tommy does a very cartoony look. He calls it his kid hero look, where they all kind of have big heads and smaller bodies. And so this is our Tommy look cover. And then this is just some of the interiors, right? This is
nice.
page 1, etc.
Wow, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy's good.
Good looking pages, man.
So we the story picks up right where number 1 left off. Number 1 left off. We got a little bit of an homage to all those 90s pouches and bags and stuff, and the champion goes into battle wearing all that stuff, right? And he tries to use a gun, he can't do it, and these two bozos right here, these two guys right here, they're bozos. They beat him, right? They drop a water tower on his head, and then they can't find him here. The reason they can't find him is because you can see back behind them, Miss Fury is caught him on a rope, and she's lifting him up where they can't see him.
Great interior art on these.
I'm telling you, listen, this is why I keep telling you, we need more eyeballs on this. How are these people not?
This is really beautiful stuff.
Even if you don't like the story, and I hope you do because I wrote it, this artwork is just gorgeous stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, she happens to bump into Demon, who is Demon was one of those characters that showed up. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate that. He showed up in Cat and Mouse, and so he's been probably one of the more popular characters that I write. So whenever I get the opportunity, I stick him in a story because my fans tend to like that. So he pops up and goes, "Hey, what are you doing to this guy? I happen to know him." And she's like, "Hey, I'm saving him. I'm not hurting him." And so he's like, "All right, well, who did it?" And she's like, "Those guys below." And so Champion is conked out here, and he ends up jumping down to the streets below, and we get into a cool superhero fight between him and the two bozos. And then, of course, Miss Fury comes in to help as well. One little, it took me about 3 viewings before I caught it. But Pete wrote Fury on the bottom of her boots. Right, so the tread of her boots. Oh, you can't see my pointer, can you? The tread of her boots, right there. It says Fury. If you look by the slam.
So it's kind of like the Phantom,
Yes.
with his ring, where he'd leave the skull or the
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the little.
You have to do something where the guy's got Fury like bruised
Yes.
across his cheek or something.
Yes.
His
Yeah,
forehead.
absolutely.
Yeah, his forehead. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
You
So
got
anyway,
Fury.
Yep, you got Fury stamped on your head. So so they have a fight, and
Where's
everybody.
the dialogue, Roland. The Fury stamp of approval.
Say again.
The Fury stamp of approval.
There you
Yeah.
go. So essentially what happens then is they have this big fight, and then they kind of all break up and go their separate ways before we kind of get back into the next part of the story, which Champ goes back to his apartment. He's visiting a buddy down there, and his buddy is a doctor, which is convenient. But he's like, "Hey man, there's this big school shooting in Chicago at your kid's school." So he's like, "What? My kid's school had a school shooting?" And so I don't want to reveal all the ending here, but he has to take off and go back up to Chicago and see what's going on. So
And be a hero.
And be a hero, yeah. So I'll stick with these first few pages here just because they're so awesome. I love the splash page.
Yeah,
But
the
on
color,
story
everything looks great, man. This is probably better than a lot of the Marvel DC books that are being published right now. And if you guys don't know, Miss Fury is she is the template for Catwoman. All those femme fatale, like Miss Fury was well before that. And also the street cred with that character wasn't the creator a woman?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tarp Mills was her name.
She just passed, right? R.I.P.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, she was the first female creator of a female hero. So so Miss Fury is kind of important. So Art, what if I cut a deal to your listeners? Would you like that? Would you think your listeners would like that?
Let the listeners chime in. Let's see. What does Thomas think? The art team is pretty cool. Wink,
That's the inker.
That's the inker. All right, Thomas. Wink, wink. All right. You're not in this equation then. So what is this this thing you're going to do, Roland?
So because I know that there's probably a lot of folks listening here that they may remember Malibu or all that kind of stuff, but they probably never heard of Silverline, don't have any idea what we're doing. So if they'll type in a word, I'll toss in the first book for free for them.
Wow.
So So if they say, look, all they got to do is type T-Bear, right? In the notes, type T-Bear, and I will toss in the first issue for free for them.
Sweet. I'm going to go full screen. You got to show that foil cover that you showed us earlier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me do that. This is
look at that.
That is gorgeous.
Oh man, this thing is beautiful. I absolutely love this.
Oh, I need to steal.
Yeah.
You know what? I really dig the Silverline in silver, the banner across the top there. That looks really cool.
And that looks sweet.
Yeah, it's a nice design.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I gotta plug my printer here. They're the ones that did this.
I was just gonna say, do you mind mentioning who your printer is?
I do not mind at all. These guys have been very good to me, and they printed us some good books. So this is just a mock-up.
I got a package, not a press package, but like a product package from Kaboom.
Kablam.
That's what they're called, like Kablam.
Kablam.
Yeah.
Close, but not really.
Yeah. Kaboom, kablam, kapow.
It's the best you're gonna get.
That looks really. That's a really nice cover.
Yeah.
It looks good. And if you guys, let me grab the tab here. So this is oh my gosh.
You need the link?
Yeah, I just screwed it up.
Let me get the link for you.
Yeah, put it in the private chat because I just screwed
right.
this thing up and I can't find it now. And so I'll put this in. There it is. Okay. I'll put this in. I won't screw it up this time. There we go. All right. And so you guys click the link and go pick yourself up a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah,
There
if you in the notes there on Fun My Comic, just type in Tiber, and I'll toss in the first issue for free.
So is this?
That's a great deal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is this your first campaign you've run then for this book?
Well, sir, for this book, no, we did one for the first issue. So,
Okay.
So here's the amazing thing, right? This is my 30th campaign.
Oh, okay.
I'm coming from Kickstarter though. We've been running all of our campaigns on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And so I talked to Luke some
my
time
comment.
ago, and he said, "Hey, look, man, why don't you bring your campaigns over here because it's a comic exclusive site? All
There's a
that kind
different audience. There's a different audience at all the crowdfunders. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so he made a sale and an offer we couldn't refuse, and so so one of the things I told him last week, I said, look, man, I said I love the platform. I said we're having problems finding the eyeballs over here. I said I'm happy to leave Kickstarter because I have lots of issues with Kickstarter, but I'm happy to leave Kickstarter, but I need the eyeballs. And so he's like, well, here, reach out to these people. I'm like, well, I know most of them. Of course, I reached out to Art. But yeah, so yeah, this is my 30th campaign. And I do want to add, for all of those who might be concerned, we are 100% on fulfillment, on-time fulfillment.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
It looks like the book is done too.
The book is finished. It sure is.
Yeah.
No worries about a year-long wait to get your book after the campaign.
No. That's why I had to stop scrolling on the PDF that I was showing you because the entire book is there.
You had the whole book,
right? And I'm like, well, I can't show you the last few pages because I mean that's part of the pool to get you to be anxious for number 3, right?
Absolutely.
So hey, Thomas, here's a shout out for you, my friend.
There you go.
So if you guys want a commission from Thomas, here's how you get it.
Yeah. And you see that's his Kid Hero style there on those drawings.
Yeah.
Nice. Those are pretty. Tommy and I do a lot of shows together. We're fairly local to each other, and he's always doing those Kid Hero commissions for folks, mostly younger people, but yeah, they love that stuff. But yeah, so there's some original art that's there. He's got some some inks and Pete has some pencils up there. So and these you guys see these prices for this original art. These are killer deals on this stuff. Those folks who like original art, you got to take a look at it because I promise you, give it some time, you won't be able to find Pete's artwork that cheap.
Very cool.
Wait a minute. Is this the cover for 150?
It is.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm telling you.
Guys.
That's crazy cheap.
Yep.
Just alone, that's Miss Fury. That's an iconic character. Just to have some Miss Fury artwork is worth 150.
Yeah.
So you're selling the interiors for 50.
Yeah, there's some steals to be had in here with the original art for sure.
For sure. Commissions for 35. That's Thomas's.
That's Tommy. And Pete's got some commissions also.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need more people to see this campaign. That's the only thing. Like you said, like this is a gorgeous looking book. Artwork looks fantastic. The story looks really cool, and obviously the characters are kick-ass.
Yeah, I mean these digitals are $5, you guys. I mean, I know things are tough right now, but pick yourself up a digital. You can get both of the books.
Well, I mean, if you guys got a college degree, you just got $35,000 let off for you, so you can like go out and buy some comics.
That's true. Yeah, thank you.
Screw the plumbers and electricians, but I mean, college graduates, you should be like buying up comics left and right.
Did that pass?
I just caught a clip of something, and
oh man, I hadn't heard that yet.
That's how rumors start.
Who's Biden's press secretary? Whatever her weird name is.
Oh man,
she said 3 times. People with student loans are literally being crushed. Literally being crushed.
Yeah.
And then one of the reporters called her on it, and they're like, "They're not literally being crushed."
Right. Yeah.
Do you understand the words literally being
literally?
Yeah. At the same time, the government's like, we're going to help you, but like since Biden's taken office, everything has doubled in price.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just about everything. It's at least 40-50% more than it was like 3 years ago. And so they're crushing everybody. But we should help out these college.
Well, they want to try and buy. They're trying to buy votes where they think they need it the most.
Or let's just send billions to Ukraine.
Hold on. If they wanted to buy votes, they could just bring the prices down on some of this stuff. And everybody, if Joe Biden could fix everything he broke, I think people would be so excited and so happy they would vote for that son of a bitch.
They don't know how to do that.
And maybe they wouldn't spend so much money to Ukraine.
Oh, dude. Things are so bad. I was walking up there from Latin America, and then I walked back. It's like, nah, I'm good here.
But anyways, you guys,
down here.
Yeah, the Silverline team up book looks fantastic, you guys. You can pick up issues 1 and 2. Only 28 backers. Let's get this thing to 30 tonight.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know, and you know what? How you're about halfway in the campaign right now?
Yeah, we have I think 10 days left.
11
days.
Yeah, 10 days left. Let's get this to 30. Let's get these Pontificator fans and get 2 backers between tonight and tomorrow when a lot of people come in. Roland, we get a lot of people because there's a lot of competition on Wednesday nights, but we get a ton of people in the next morning.
We get
the reviews. We get the reviews overnight. That's where we.
Yeah, rerun.
The deal is good for the length of the campaign. So just tell it. Make sure it doesn't have to be live right now, right? Because I understand that not everybody's going to be live right this minute. So anybody watching this, whether it's tonight, whether it's in the morning, or whether it's the day before the campaign ends, I'll honor this deal till the campaign ends. All they got to do is in the notes for Fund My. You guys have funded back to Fund My Comic, right? There, that's what I'm saying. There's a place for notes. So just put in T-Bear, and I will throw in issue 1 for
There's
you.
no L.
There's what?
There's no L in T-Bear.
Did I say it?
I thought it was Stillbird for a long time.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering where you're going.
I want to make sure people spell it. I want to make sure people spell it right.
I realize I have a southern accent, but I don't think I said
no, you're fine.
Yeah, Tilbert. Yeah, it's like
okay.
Unless you call him El Tiber, like
yeah. But okay. Business taken care of. Everybody go out, check the champion and Miss Fury. Yeah, the Silverline team up. Go do that, and let's get 2 backers. But let's get back to Roland's story. Okay, so you're at Malibu. Okay, so Malibu. No, this is an interesting story because Malibu sold to Marvel.
Yeah,
like I still there's certain purchases that I don't understand. I don't understand why Marvel did that unless they got Men in Black. If Marvel got Men in Black in the deal, then I understand it. But if they didn't, I don't.
Well,
and then the other one I didn't understand was like DC buying Wildstorm. Wildstorm was already on a major downslide. Like the only thing that makes sense is that they got Jim Lee out of the deal.
Right.
But I heard that Marvel or DC, I mean, thought that they were able to like go around and get Alan Moore because Alan Moore was doing those ABC books or whatever.
He was doing ABC, Tom Strong, and all that stuff.
So they thought it's very naive, but I heard that they thought they were getting the talent at Wildstorm. So that's Travis Charest, that's J. Scott Campbell. It's all these guys. But the thing is, those guys are still independent contractors. You can't buy people.
No.
You can buy.
Depends on where you are. I think it depends on where you are.
Everything's
in the United States, Pedro, you can't buy people.
I mean, be specific, guys, because some information doesn't translate properly. Like, if you want people, I can get you people.
I can get
you people.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like what did they get out of it? And then Jim Lee, it's like, well, did you have to buy his company to get Jim Lee?
Yeah.
Anyway, so what was the Marvel Malibu connection? Why?
So the thing about it is, if you go and look on the internet, this has been what I'm about to say has been the longest running false rumor, for as long as the internet's been around. And that rumor is that Marvel bought Malibu for the coloring department.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Right.
Yeah, that's the furthest from the truth that you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. If they wanted a coloring department for the price they paid, they could have just said, okay, we're going to hire all of you guys right here in the coloring department, and we're going to pay you double what you're being paid now. It would have been far less money than buying the entire company.
Well, look what
No.
Rob did. Rob created a color division at Extreme Studios with a bunch of people that had zero experience. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it
Well,
can be done.
And he stole some of our guys.
Good for Rob.
In fact, true story. In fact, because of that, Malibu had the company instigated a policy where the coloring department couldn't get any phone calls to the company, because what they would do is they would call, say, hey, can I speak to so and so, right? Ask for a colorist. The colorist would come online and they, hey, this is Extreme Studios. We'll pay you, whatever, more than what Malibu is paying you. And of course they're like, yeah, okay. And for like, I don't know, there's about 6 weeks in a row, we lost a colorist every week, right? Because they were just calling them up, and, offering them more money. All right, so the reality is this, okay? You gotta big picture the whole comic industry corporate maneuvering, okay? And you have
Was
to
it
be
market share? I just gotta.
It was so DC had been talking to Malibu for about 6 months. Okay. They had the bean counters in and out of the offices. They were doing what's called due diligence. They were looking at the accounting books. They were talking to some of the upper management, right? I got talked to briefly. They were looking at our equipment. Now that they were just doing due diligence, like, okay, if we're going to buy you, what are we getting, right? What's the company that we're getting, right? Marvel caught wind of it and said, oh no, that's not going to happen. Literally, DC had been doing this for 6 months. When Marvel found out, the purchase was announced within 2 weeks. Yes, they did it purely to keep it away from DC, because at the time, Malibu had about a 10%-ish market share, right? And had DC added that market share to the DC line, that would have popped them above the Marvel market share. Right. Mm-hmm. So DC would have become number 1 in market share and Marvel would have become number 2. So Marvel was like, yeah, no, this is not happening. So they literally flew out, toured the company. I remember I stood, and I didn't know who he was at the time. I stood 6 feet from Ron Perlman. Right. And I don't mean the actor. I mean the Revlon guy. Right. Yeah. The money guy. I didn't know who he was. I knew something was weird because Scott Rosenberg, our president, every time he brought somebody around in a tour to the office, he would go, oh, and this is Roland. He's one of our editors, blah, blah, blah. Right. This time when he was giving the tour, he went, this is one of our editors. And just kept walking. Right. I'm like, well, that was weird. But I found out later who it was. So we were sold to Marvel, or Marvel bought us purely to keep DC, keep us out of DC's hands. It had nothing
to do.
That's what
I figured. I figured it was market share, because it's the only thing that made sense. Like a color house didn't make sense. The characters, as good as they were, Marvel has a whole universe. They don't need extra characters. I think that Marvel, because I do remember that Marvel tried to kind of incorporate the Ultra Force or the Ultraverse into the Marvel universe. And so it was probably Hank that was my editor, but I did a lot of like Marvel Ultraverse crossover stuff.
Yeah, that was Hank.
I did like Nightman and Spider-Man. I did the Hulk and Prime. I did Cable and Electrocute, I believe. Yeah, Sexy Electrocute. And I did a book with George Perez where they did the Avengers Ultra Force.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ink Steven on that too? You know, Steven did some work after George, I think, as a penciler.
I barely got through George's. I mean, I think the deadline was absurd. It was crazy. I did as much as I could, but I don't think I finished even George's pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember that wasn't my book. So I just, I remember that George was doing some and Steven was doing some as well. And like you said, Steven being my old college buddy, I kind of kept up with what he was doing and everything.
It's weird, like when you got to be careful with like what you wish for, right? Because you'll get it, but it's not going to be on the terms that you really want it to be. So I always loved George Perez's work. He's one of the first artists I actually paid attention to, had recognition of. Wait,
you muted yourself.
Okay. Okay. There we go. And so when I got the job, I was like, yes. So I'm getting into it, 4 pages, all this cool stuff, and it's like, could you speed it up a little bit? I'm like, this is George Perez.
Yeah.
This is an easy stuff. There's like 9-10 panels per page, and all this
detail to the hilt on every single panel, and
So here's another rumor that that goes around about Marvel and Malibu and everything. So Malibu has a lot of fans, and there's a very, very active Ultraverse group over on Facebook, and they're always saying, why won't Marvel bring back the Ultraverse? Blah 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 blah. And what keeps coming up is that they won't do it because of the contracts. That's BS, right? So at one point in time, the explanation was they couldn't figure the contracts out. And of course, or the accounting was too hard, right? And of course, we all at Malibu, we always laugh at the ex-Malibu folks. We always laugh at that because you say, okay, so you're telling me that Malibu's accounting department that had about 3 people in it could figure out how to pay royalties on these contracts, and Marvel's great big accounting department can't figure that out? What? You're telling me that? And you're, the legal department can't figure out what that is, but Malibu's could. The truth of the matter is, Malibu's contracts the participation contracts were very similar to DC's participation contracts. They're not complicated, right? They're not complicated at all. Marvel doesn't want to do anything because there's a rider on the sale that says anything that they do with the Ultraverse has to have someone else attached to it. I'll give you one guess as to who that might be.
Scott?
Yeah. So they don't want to have anything to do with it, right? Because they don't want to have.
Hey, come on, man! Scott might buy you a hot dog.
Yeah, exactly.
They
What do
shouldn't
they have
have
against
paid
hot dogs?
anything extra after buying it from them.
So
I thought you were going to say like contracts with film, because I know that Malibu had a TV deal with that Nightman, right? And did they have something with Prime as well?
Well, there's the long-standing rumor that there's a Prime screenplay written, and apparently there's someone who wants to do it. Now, I don't know this. I don't know any. I'm not keeping any insider information. I've never seen the Prime script. I don't know if it exists. I've heard that for a long time. My thoughts are, if it did exist, we would have seen it by now.
Yeah, by now.
Even if we didn't see
Was there an Ultra Force cartoon or something?
It was. Yeah.
I remember seeing like some animation.
Ultra Force.
Yeah. And you know what? Was Malibu, you guys actually invested in some TV commercials, right?
Yes, sir. Those were awesome, weren't they? Those
you know what? I remember talking to like a lot of the Image guys, because like Extreme Studios, the studio I worked out of, that's Rob Liefeld's studio.
Yeah.
The Image office was right across the hall. So I had access to all those guys, Tony Libido and all the Larry Martyr later and all that. And I was like, with all these, there were millions and millions of dollars. Going, probably $10+ million going through that door monthly, right? If not more, in the day. And I'm like, shouldn't we be investing in like advertising for these books? Like with this kind of money, you could actually start taking ad spots on national TV. Yeah. And they were like, you know what we're doing? We're thinking of doing like a what was it? Image on Ice for kids. So I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. There's this guy, this promotions guy that they hired, and I sat in his office for about 20 minutes and listened to his pitch, and I was like, Disney probably has a hard time getting families to come watch Disney on Ice, right? Yeah. How is Image Comics? Nobody knows these characters. How are they going to fill up like I don't know, the the Honda Center, you know, in Orange County.
He sounds like he was somebody's brother-in-law or something.
You know,
That's what most of the
I
Image
just
people were.
I just realized the first complete series I read in my life was a Malibu comic series. Jim
Really?
Starlin's Breed. Jim Starlin's Breed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was Bravura.
Yeah, Bravura.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the Bravura line, did you had like Howard Chaykin?
Howard Chaykin, Walt Simonson,
Was Mike Mignola
Gene
part-
Colan.
Gene Colan, okay.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mike Mignola was part of that Dark Horse Legends.
The Legends thing.
With Byrne and all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the super team besides Ultraverse?
Whoa.
The
Sorry.
Strangers.
Yes, The Strangers. That I loved that book.
I was the
it
editor.
Rich? Oh, were you?
I was,
okay.
yeah.
That was like to me, Prime and The Strangers were like to me. The Strangers was the best book
Yeah.
out of Malibu. I loved that diverse team. I'm not going to remember as much of it now. Was it the artist was Rich?
Rick Hoberg. Rick
Yeah,
Hoberg.
Rick Hoberg.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rick Goldberg.
Loved Rick Hoberg's art so much on that. It was so clean, so superhero-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely huge fan of that book. I probably have I'm sure I've got the first 12 issues in my long boxes somewhere.
Well, you know what? If you don't, just pop down to your store and look in the dollar boxes. You can find them
Yeah,
there.
I know. It wasn't a big hit, but that was like one
No.
of those really good comics that never got the attention it
Yeah.
deserved.
I agree. Yeah. My favorite to edit was probably Sludge. Because I got to work
Sludge,
with
okay. I remember
got to work with
Sludge.
Steve Gerber and of course Aaron Lopresti. Working with Steve Gerber was just pretty awesome. He was an incredibly odd but brilliant writer.
Yeah,
Didn't Mike Plug do
that
something
whole
over
line of
there?
Stuff was really
Mike
great.
Plug, he sure did. Actually, now that you said that, that is my single favorite book to have edited. I edited that. It was called Sludge Red Xmas. Nobody bought it. Nobody bought it. And it's just like, how are you people not buying this? This is Steve Gerber and Mike Plug. It's like, this is a beautiful book. What the heck, people? I was so unhappy with the sales numbers of that thing because it was just like, I was so excited because like I got to put this together, right? As the editor, I got to do this. And Plug was awesome, right? Plug was awesome to work with. It's a gorgeous book.
It is.
Oh, it's Michael Plug.
Yeah, I know, right?
Brilliant, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you know what? Like Malibu's got quite a history, and then there's the whole Image stuff. You know that basically Image went and used Malibu, and then they had the Image Eye as an imprint, but it was basically Malibu.
Yeah.
You know, the publisher, and yes, pretty.
you know how all that kind of came about and the reason behind all that, right?
Sort of, but I want to take a little detour. Can you guys see this?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
This is some early RT Bear work. Yeah.
Oh, that's art. Yeah. Oh, that's a sweet cover.
Sweet.
And then
Lord Pumpkin.
This is me over Jeff Matsuda. We were sharing studio space at the time.
Yeah.
And then this is the Spider-Man Nightman.
Nice.
Oh, dude.
Nice.
Good times. Yeah. So
cool
and
stuff.
Howard paid crazy good at the time.
Yeah.
Because I remember like talking to Hank, and it was like, well, you know, I make pretty good money. He's like, he goes, don't worry about it. He goes, we'll pay you good. And I was like,
that's what you like to hear.
Yeah.
Hank always took good care of me, man. Hank's a good guy.
Oh, Hank's a good guy. He's I think one of the unsung heroes in comics. Because you know he spent like almost 25 years at DC before he got fired in one of these recent firings that they did and replaced a whole bunch of people.
And he's a gentleman. I shared a bed. I shared a bed at a hotel
Whoa!
room
What?
That got Pedro's attention.
Hey,
He didn't try anything. He didn't try anything. I think it was.
That's because he
that's
slept above the sheets and Art slept below the sheets. Right?
Yeah, that's the trick. That's how you do it, right?
nothing happened, and I was expecting for something to happen. This is like
I wanted something to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But then there was Kevin McGuire that shared the room, and then John Peterson. I don't know if you know John Peterson, Roland. He kind of bops in and out of comic book history, but John would not share a bed with Kevin, so John slept in the bathtub.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Okay.
You know, I just remembered, Clint. You talked about the Strangers.
Yep.
Tommy, the guy who inked the Silverline team up, inked a whole bunch of Strangers issues.
Oh, cool. Very
Same
cool.
guy.
Oh,
Oh, the
awesome.
Arrow! Wow, yeah. I wrote the Arrow.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Dude, it's funny that you're talking about
Art
sleeping in
story
beds and
there is you've never really been a comic book freelancer until you've split a hotel room at a convention with a bunch of other comic pros just to be able to go. That's like initiation 101 for being a comic pro.
Yeah. You got to do it, man, because
their mattresses are your friend, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we're the image time, right? So Image has approached Malibu, and
so kind of the way that happened, right? And I don't know all the gory details, but Rob Liefeld and Dave Olbrich, who was a publisher at Malibu, had a relationship already, right? Dave had known Rob for several years, and when the announcement was made, Dave was like, hey, Rob, if you guys need any help, we're here to help you. So the Image guys split off, and they're like, okay, well, we know how to make comics, but we got to get them to market. So Dave said, don't worry about that. We can take care of that while you guys go hire your staff, right? Go hire all your people. We'll be the, I think it's called the legal term is called the publisher of note or publisher of record, something like that. And so Malibu did all the solicitations, handled all the printing stuff. They were doing that simply while it was never meant to be a permanent thing, right? It was simply while Image was hiring people, right? Hiring their staff. Malibu was taking care of all the business stuff so that Image could continue to because look, that news was hot. They couldn't let it wait, 10 months until they could find house a staff, right? So Malibu just said, we'll take care of this while you guys get your house in order or you hire your people. Once you've done, you move everything over there. Everything's hunky dory. And that's exactly.
So that was always up front that
Yes.
Malibu was just kind of a one-nighter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A one-night stand.
A one-night stand. And and the thing about it is, this has benefited Malibu incredibly. I mean, Malibu was already around, right? They were an independent publisher, already since I think 86. So they weren't new, but now everybody who had never heard of Malibu knew who Malibu was because of Image
But
Comics.
the thing is, comic book people that lived in California all knew about Malibu.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because there was very few comic book outlets,
Mm-hmm.
And then you brought up Rick Hoberg,
Right.
earlier, hanging out with Jim Valentino and Rick Hoberg. Those guys, there used to be this thing in comic books. If you lived in LA or whatever, when it was cartoon season, you did storyboards or you worked in animation. After that, the summer, whatever, when there was the layoffs, you did comic books.
Yeah.
That's what they did. And I just remember Rick Hoberg, was a storyboard guy. He did a lot of animation, storyboards, things like that. So and then he did comic books. They almost did comic books as a hobby.
Yeah. Because they didn't pay what animation did.
No, but it was money that they could bring in, but it was kind of hobby money versus any kind of real, storyboard money or Hollywood money. Yeah.
The problem with being an animator is that it pays better, but it's never going to be your IP. So
Right.
it's always that.
I don't know, man.
In California, it was always seasonal. Like it was never round the year. So just like all television, like TV shows and stuff like that, they had seasons, and they would film from whatever month to whatever month, and then they would go on hiatus, kind of like schools, like school teachers.
Yeah. It's like that everywhere. It's
off
like that everywhere. Because the within the production cycle, if you're a storyboard guy, it's like 4 to 6 months of work. And then it goes to principal animation, and then if you can't animate, you're only like a storyboard guy, then you're out. You know, they don't need you anymore. So you gotta find stuff to do. As an animator, like you're gonna be there longer, and it pays well, but in the end, it's not yours. Like you're gonna see The Simpsons, like that's cool, I was there.
Yeah.
And then you cry yourself to sleep because you're not Mike Groening, you know. So.
Right. But even he, like in the beginning years when he sold The Simpsons, he made thick, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Money. Yeah, I remember talking to him, and he said, like, I guess they were probably 15 years into The Simpsons at this point, and I talked to the guy, and he said, well, it was about the time that Futurama was hitting, so I don't know how long into The Simpsons run, you know.
When Futurama came about, The Simpsons was in its
12th year. Okay,
yeah,
12th year. And so it was probably 15 years into it. He goes, you know what, Art? He goes, I made more money in the Futurama cell than I did in the 12, 15 years, you know, selling it to for the Simpsons. Like, because the Simpsons, his deal just wasn't good. And so that adage, like your first sell in Hollywood, you're always gonna get reamed.
Yeah.
Even somebody like Matt, you know, got pretty much his
like nobody knew him. Like the things, like somebody like Mike Judge, like he was huge with Beavis and Butthead, but he made his money with King of the Hill. It's always like that. Because when he came into the deal of King of the Hill, he was Mike Judge. When he went to do the Beavis and Butthead deal, he was like, "Oh, you're the guy who bought some stupid stuff in MTV." Like,
right.
You need that second idea.
Yeah,
to make money off of this. Always going to screw you on your first idea.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hey, Roland, at that time, you were living in California and everything. Do you remember Matt Groening's his Life in Hell, his comic strip?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it? It wasn't national. It was like just in local, wasn't it? It wasn't national, was it?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure.
It was always in like weird newspapers and stuff.
I do remember I met him one time though, and didn't really know who he was because again, Dave Obert, Dave knew everybody, right? And we were somewhere, what comic shop somewhere, and Dave leans over to me, he goes, "That's Matt Groening." Who? Matt Groening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "No, I don't." He goes, "Come here, I'll introduce you to him." So I met him just briefly. He was very nice, and then we were out. But I'm like, and then it wasn't until later on I'm like, oh, that's who that was. You know,
I met a few people like that too.
It happens. It happens.
And then you feel so bad. It's like, oh, there were so many questions I could have asked you. There's
That happened to me with Danny Antonucci, the guy from Ed, Edd n Eddy. I met him at this like meetup, and everybody's like pitching and whatever, and he was pitching too. So I thought he was a jack-off like me. And we're like joking, you want another beer? I'm like, dude, you were hanging out with Dan Antonucci, like,
that guy was he was like a Laguna Beach guy or something, right? He lived in Orange County, right?
He's a punk rock bass player.
I knew. Actually, it was a musician that said that he knew that guy, and this was early on when that show started, and he goes like, "You want to hang out with this guy? He lives up in Laguna Beach." And I was like, or down in Laguna Beach. And I was like, I got work to do. And then my daughter got the right age, and she started watching that Ed, and Eddie, and I was like, that's that guy.
Funny like that.
Man, you talk about like creatively making it hard for yourself, unless they had a digital program, because those lines always moved, right? Like, so the outlines, the contours of the outline would always move.
His explanation was that he was never good at cleanup. So he turned that that lack of accuracy into his style. And then he taught everybody in the studio, like, this is how we're doing. It's because he hated cleanup.
Well, it was weirdly kinetic because there was always
Yeah.
like things moving and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And
Mhm.
I never found it jarring or
Yeah.
it-
No,
I-
the cool thing about that is that the lines were trembling, and the volume of the line quality, like,
yeah,
move.
thick and thin. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
But
when
the
you make
volume of the
laziness work
characters-
for you.
No, but the
Exactly.
volume
It
of the
becomes your
characters was,
style.
the volume of the characters was always on point. In what sense? You never saw like a guy like walking and he said like growing bigger and smaller. It was always the same size. It's just like
Yeah.
the little squiggly line. It became like a statement within the. I mean, as animators, like we were seeing that, like, oh my god, these guys are.
Isn't that kind of what they do on the Red Bull? The
Okay,
Red Bull
the-
animation has got that squiggly line always
Yeah.
on the figures.
Yeah, they're echoing what Danny Antonucci did, and
Okay.
Yeah,
also
Oh, go ahead.
on the Kill Bill, movie, like the animated sequence, the story of Oren. Remember, it's all like fully animated. It's done in anime style, but it's the rough animation painted over, and that's basically it's like an echo to what Danny does. Even though the style is not the same, the line quality flicker is there, and those guys did it first. So
Yeah.
guys.
My daughter loved that show, and the only thing I could
Mhm.
figure out is because like kids that grew up in her time, they didn't have that kind of freedom. So I'm watching it going, this is like the Little Rascals, you know what I mean? Like that's all this show is, just kids basically just living on the street, having fun, no parental,
Supervising.
yeah, like they could just do whatever they wanted. And I think my daughter just loved that because otherwise, I don't know why she liked it. Like it was.
I mean, but it was at that time there were shows like that. But you got Ed and Eddie, and you guys remember Kids Next Door?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was
Codename
but-
Next Door. Yeah.
yeah. You got like a little like gang of kids that they don't know.
They were like spy kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That was cool. Ed and Eddie though, they had a great opening, and that whistle, that yeah, it was catchy as all get out, man. Because I still remember that.
Mhm.
But let's throw some light onto this campaign right here. This thing gets launched not too long ago. It's Pirate Queen versus
Nice.
Slave Girl. And Clint is heating it up, man. 12,055,
Sweet.
96 backers,
96
almost 100
backers. Still
Yeah,
close.
Yeah, let's get this to 100 backers, you guys. So what do you got for us, Clint?
Yeah, I was stoked that we're at 12,000 and we haven't even hit 100 backers yet. So the start of this campaign, it was the first week on Friday. What the hell is today? Wednesday. So we're like just a week and a half in and we've already hit 12,000. So just off to a fantastic start. Just going to kind of scroll quick through some of the variant covers here. We've got all 4 of the regular variant covers. This one's just an homage to Jim Lee X-Men cover. And then we do have the ass titties in honor of Frega. Frega got his surgery today and it went well. We got God bless Frega.
Yeah, he's doing
went great.
Awesome.
It's always a scary thing going into surgery. I've had to do it myself, and you like coming out and hearing everything went well. It's about as good a relief as you can. So a little ass titties, and we do have some adult variant covers here, and this one at the bottom is my personal favorite. If you want the harem cover with all the girls, with Slave Girl, with Zora Astra, Pirate Queen, all smushed in there. Wouldn't you like to dive in face first? So
you have to say it's mush, right?
Yes, I know. So a lot of action going on with the campaign. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, probably have the link somewhere around here. Otherwise, check out my Twitter.
The link
I've
is
got the direct link on my Twitter. You do need the direct link because we're shadow banned on Indiegogo, of course, as always. But
Make that move to fund my comic, man.
Yeah, that is a good option too. Definitely, everybody check out Fund My Comic. I'm not on there yet, but I probably am going to be at the not too distant future. So, Slade,
we'll welcome you with open arms.
Check it out.
Yeah. Luke is a good dude, and he's upfront about everything. And if you have a problem on Fund My Comic, there's going to be a person on the other end of the line, which is he can't be set for Kickstarter Indigo anymore. So
Nope.
there's
Right.
that.
Yeah,
And
you
then
don't
if
hear
you guys
anything
go,
from
if
me.
you guys go back in my history, my YouTube history, there's a Pontificators where we had Luke Stone on, and he's a good guy. He was talking about Fund My Comic and all that stuff. So we need to support this stuff, keep the indie movement going. I mean, this success is pretty it's pretty amazing, and I think we still got a lot to give. There's still a lot of room there for more success to build this thing even bigger and badder than it is right now. Because I do not see any of this stuff coming from the mainstream. I don't even have a glimpse of anything changing. So if you guys want like what we used to think was good, clean fun, action adventure, this is where you can get it. And also just stuff that's a little bit racier, that Marvel and DC don't have the cojones to publish, like the stuff that Clint's doing, So you guys back that stuff. Roland is in the description here. This is his Fund My Comic. This is the Silver Team, the Silverline Team Up. This is the Champion and Miss Fury. It's a team up of a lifetime. So click on that. Go there, back a book. And then also Clint Helinski's new book, Pirate Queen versus Slave Girl, is in the description. So click on that. That'll take you directly there and give him a backing. Because I think both of you guys are almost at a big turnaround, right? So I think Roland needs 2 more backers to be at 30.
30, yeah.
And then, what do you need? Like 3?
Let me refresh.
3 or 4 for 100 to hit 100 backers. So
Yeah.
So there's at least 2 out there that can back both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you guys, this is we get a lot of rerunners the next day. So we're talking to you as well. So we realize there's a lot of competition on Wednesday nights, and we appreciate everybody that's in the chat tonight, and we're going to appreciate everybody that comes in tomorrow on the rerun. So I don't have a campaign going right now, but I do have a pre-launch or a sign-up page. So I'll show you that real quick. And it's for my new art book, and it's called Oodles of Doodles and Other Stuff Too. So this is going to be a fast campaign. So we're hoping that we can get enough attention on it quickly, and get some eyes on it. And then I would like it to go a month. And if we can get those numbers in a month, then we'll go right into printing, because this book is done. I have the files. The book is done, and I already have a printer ready. We already have quotes, all that other good stuff. But I would like to possibly create a new version of this book with your help. So in the form of stretch goals, possibly a new cover, 8 new pages, which I already have the artwork laid out for. And so if we can get in quick, and we can get to those those big marks with stretch goals, then we can go to print relatively quick. So this is Oodles of Doodles and Other Stuff Too. This will be the second printing campaign. The first one completely sold out. And if you go on, if you Google this book and go on eBay, some of these books are going for $90 to $110.
Jeez.
So there is some collectability here. So
nice investment.
Yeah,
there's going to be some new art, right?
Market. Healthy collectors market on all of art stuff.
Yeah. So here's the book, so you can see it's done. It's oversized. It's magazine size. So it's a quality book. And So here's some of the interiors.
That is great looking art.
Thanks. And we got, I always like the Superman piece.
That's great, Superman.
I did it for the 75th anniversary.
Nice.
So here's Cable. So this stuff goes back to 93. You know, maybe there's some stuff earlier on. Here's a Action Comics cover that I penciled in ink. So you can't really see it, but there's some prelim stuff. You get to see some of the thumbnails that I sent to the editor, and then they got to choose. So here's a Captain Action. There's some thumbnails there as well. So there's a lot of like cool behind the scenes stuff. There's some commissions, some con drawing. So just fun stuff, you guys. And we're going to be going live. Hopefully, I would like to do it at the end of this month, but time is moving so quickly. But definitely early next month, we are going to go live with Oodles of Doodles and other stuff too. So sign up in the meantime. That link is in the description as well. We got Roland's, as I was saying, his Silver Line team up 1 and 2 with the champion and Miss Fury. So check that out. And also in the description, we have the Pirate Queen versus Slave Girl. So
Nice.
check those out. So Pedro, Todd, do you guys have anything in form of a parting shot that you would like to?
Don't do tango unless you're getting laid.
Good advice to anyone out there.
Yeah.
That's a callback to the beginning of the show.
To the intro.
Yeah.
If you're
That's all I've got,
taking
man.
tango lessons, you better be getting some ass.
Yeah, exactly.
So Roland, if you weren't listening, we had like the two things. What is it? Musicals, theater, musical,
and dancing.
and dancing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't you remember I came on and said something like long walks on the beach, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll bring your tea count into question. Yeah.
There's just some stuff you got to do as a guy to make sure you lock down that deal.
It's called hunting, guys.
And you know what? There's the same on the other side when your girlfriend or your wife,
Oh yeah, when she cooks for you and
sports, they'll sit down and watch sports with you, or you like that action adventure film? Yeah, let's go see it or whatever.
Yeah,
That's right,
you want to see the game? I made you some chicken wings, baby, and here's the baby you love.
It's give and take. It's a give and take.
Exactly.
It's a web of lies. It's what it is.
And then later,
Web of lies.
later it becomes, baby, the game's on. You want to watch it? No, I'm not going to watch a game. Can I watch it here? Well, I'm watching a movie.
What's in a movie? Yeah, it's like
There's the
not that loud.
Yeah, you get relegated to the small TV set.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why you always buy two big TVs.
Yeah. Hey Todd, you got anything for us? You haven't said one single word, man.
Yes, I have, but no, I don't have anything. I'm just
What word did you say?
I said Mike Plug, get a book out.
That's
No.
right.
Oh,
He
okay.
did. Yeah. You
You
got
were
to
the Mike Food guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, very good, Roland. It was great talking to you, man. You had a great
Thank you.
career, a lot of interesting people. I mean, the one thing about working on comics is not really a dull moment. There's
It's not.
on,
It's not boring, is it?
No, it's
And if
over.
you're lucky, you'll get a hot dog.
That's right. Yeah. A lot of there are those kind of people, but there's a lot of good folks in comics, right?
Yeah.
But
But let's rephrase that. Okay, it's a hot dog that's bought by a guy that's making a crap ton of money.
Yeah. and courting you probably, right?
Yeah.
Courting your
Yeah,
property, I should say.
The thing with Rosenberg is your comic might get turned into a movie, but you're probably not going to get any of the money out.
Right. You'll get a hot dog.
Yeah, you get a hot dog. That's about it.
But that's the deal, is where you get your comic made into a movie, but then you got to make sure you got that second comic idea. Then you might have a chance to make some money. So
Yeah.
Unless you got Men in Black, for some reason that guy got a good negotiated deal because you.
well,
said
that was his first deal. That's probably why.
Yeah.
After that, he was like, "Oh, I'm not letting that happen again."
I don't know.
No, Roland said he did very well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did real well. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know the details behind Lowell's negotiation. I don't know what he did and how he got that. So
it can happen, like in the case of the Crow and even Ninja Turtles. Like somehow those guys got a good attorney and took good care of them. But on that note, thanks to everybody. We'll see you. Some of you guys coming in for the reruns tomorrow. So hello to you. And this has been the Pontificators with Roland Mann as a guest, Pedro Eng, Clint Helinski, and Todd Mulrooney Dooney.
don't forget code word T-Bear, and I'll toss in that free book for you.
Free copy.
How could anybody forget that? All right, man. Well, we'll see you next week on Pontificators. Take care, everyone.